Quick demonstration now of commentary driving. Great tool for full licence holders, for learners coming up to test, and experienced drivers. So wide spectrum of people, or of drivers, to aid concentration. I'm going to be demonstrating the 5 elements we generally use to lower the risk on the road, which can be found by spelling the acronym COAST. So concentration, observation, anticipation, space and time. Okay, so I'm already looking at the conditions. We're starting to rain, so we know we're now following distance has doubled, and our braking distance has doubled, so I need to be aware of that before I move off. And I'm going to start by checking my blind spots. Even though I'm on a driveway, there's nothing to say a child doesn't climb over the fence next to me for a ball or something like that. It has happened before here, so I am aware I'm on a housing estate, and so therefore it's up to us as drivers to look out for children, not the other way round. Gone are the days when we shout at the kids for running into a road. I know I do, but if you think about it, children cannot risk assess properly when there's a more attractive option around, such as a ball run into the road. Okay, so looking at the road ahead now, it's quite clear apart from a parked car on the left. I'm expecting a car door to open. There's no one in there. I'm checking my mirrors out, checking my mirrors back in. It is a 20 road here. I'm going to abide by the rules. If I felt that was really difficult to stick to, I'm going to put my cruise control on. It's usually because you're entering an area of elevated risk. Please remember that. There are rules for a reason. I'm going to go right at this junction, so I'm checking my mirrors. I'm getting my signal on about 8 to 10 car lengths before the junction, and I'm looking for people first. I'm not looking for cars. People have priority, and so do cyclists when it's safe to do so. So looking at least 10 car lengths clear. I'm just going to edge out to see to the near side. There is another car coming. After this one, it's good to go. So looking at the road ahead now, I've got a junction to the left. I'm anticipating a car coming out. Checking my mirror, there is a following car behind. He's just turning off, and I'm into a 30 zone now. Now what I do is I'm not guided completely by the speed limit. I'm looking at my stopping distance. So if you look in the highway code, you will see your stopping distances, but do them, if you try and work them out in car lengths, it's so much easier because we're looking at cars all the time. So I've now got 3 car lengths to my limit point, which if you look in the highway code, you'll find the correct speed is 20 miles an hour. So that's the speed you could stop at within 3 car lengths. Now that's opened up, I can get to 6 car lengths here now. To 30 miles an hour, which is 6 car lengths. Again, looking at the bends, at the furthest point I can see to be clear that we call our limit point, that's coming down to 3, and we're coming to a junction now which has been highlighted. I'm checking my mirrors, getting my signal on, and I'm looking out. It's again another area of elevated risk. We've got a highlighted sign there that we've just passed, which means there's been crashes at this junction, so I'm going to take extra care when I'm making observations here. Please refer to saccadic masking. You can Google that. It's a concept as drivers we all need to be aware of, purely because of the way it affects our observations when we turn our heads from left to right. So looking at the 50 now, I'm checking my mirror. It's pretty safe, but at the moment, due to the limit points and that restriction, and also the weather conditions, 40 is the absolute maximum I would go. I'm a decent driver, been an instructor for 21 years, trained sometimes in advanced driving. I do fleet training as well, but I can't defy physics. No one's a perfect driver, and even if they are, you cannot defy physics. Please remember that. So looking at the road ahead, I've got another bend there. The highlighted sign's been turned around slightly. I'm just covering my brake in case there's a pedestrian. We've got no pavements. Good question to ask yourself when you're on a rural road is, have we got any pavements? And here we haven't, but we've got really good visibility. So this is where I can get my speed up. I can see a building on the left, so I'm just going to cover my brake and check my mirror. And I'm going to start braking really gentle, just due to the conditions and the following traffic there. I'm going left at the roundabout. I'm aware it is still a 50. We're going to time my signal, and I'm going to slowly roll in because the observation to the right isn't great. So the worse the observation, the slower we should be. The less we can see, the slower we should be. So into a 40 now. Now looking at the road ahead and how narrow it is, and due to the conditions, maximum speed I think is appropriate, and that's what we've got to ask ourselves, is it appropriate, is 30 on this road today. I'm looking at the tarmac as well, not too bad at the moment, but some stretches there have been worn away, which does affect your stopping distance. Checking my mirror, no one's behind, and again we've got no walkway now, so I'm anticipating a pedestrian is going to be right on the bend facing me. Checking my mirror again, just getting ready, covering my brake, just gently going to brake there, slow, speed lower, observe the warning, and we've got a double bend coming up. Again, just anticipating a tractor in front of me, something on the bend that I may need to stop for, a horse, cyclist. And I think the problem is we see these national speed limit signs, and a lot of people use that as a target unnecessarily. So looking at the road ahead, as you saw there, it was safe for me to accelerate, but reducing my speed slightly there to deal with any complications coming up. But learner drive, I'm going to anticipate the steering might not be great around these bends. Looking at the road ahead and the oncoming van, he is taking up most of his lane, so I'm going to tuck right in, and we're into a 30. Quite often you can, as an advanced driver, you can actually notice features coming up, such as houses in the distance, massive clue that you're coming into a 30. We know that we've got street light rule as well, even if we hadn't seen that sign. The fact that we've got street lights and houses means that we're in a 30 zone. If I'm struggling, again, like I said before, to keep at 30, then I would press my cruise control on about now. But I'm not struggling. It's not appropriate to get right up to 30, and I'm coming into a junction anyway, of which I'm going to turn left. So I'm checking my mirrors, I'm signalling. I'm going to look nice and early. It's what we call an open junction. I can see 10 car lengths clear both sides of the junction. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to keep it moving. Scanning the crossing, seeing who's followed me. So looking at the road ahead, we've got brake lights over the brow of the hill. I'm predicting there's someone turning right a bit further over. I know, only because I know this road, people don't get into position. But one thing, we're not going to get annoyed. Now I'm going to plan where I'm going to stop, checking my mirror, and there's a car that's quite a comfortable distance behind, but the traffic's moved. If I can do what we call eco driving, and I will do another video just purely based on eco driving, if we can do it, we always say slow to flow, look to go. If we can just keep those wheels moving ever so slightly, it not only uses less fuel, but you're giving people behind a maximum response time to be able to deal with you. Don't forget, people around, we've got to be able to drive well enough that we can control the traffic around us as well. A poor driver will just be looking at their destination and themselves. Realistically, you may have a driver that's 92 and maybe the judgment isn't great behind, maybe fantastic. We may have someone who's only just passed the test and isn't concentrating. We've got all number of people and different styles of driving on the road and different experiences and abilities. We've got to be able to deal with every one of those. So the more we can look out for other people, the more we can step up and take control of the crashes in the community, so that we're preventing them. We're actively helping to prevent. And one way of doing that is by not getting annoyed behind the wheel. So looking at the road ahead now, I've got a nice pavement on my left, so no one should be stepping out. We've got someone right on the edge of the curb saying that, so I'm covering my brakes. She's not looking at me. She stepped back, now she is. So now I'm checking my mirror and looking again at the road ahead. It's nice and clear, it's fine to get up to 30. I'm going to pop on my cruise control here, because I think it's one less thing to worry about your speed creeping up when you're on a nice open road. Traffic ahead of us, so I'm just gently tapping the foot brake, just to turn that cruise control off. There is another way of doing it as well, which is flicking the stalk forward, but I'm quite happy to give the following traffic some reaction time, which I'm going to do now because we've got warning signs to the near side there of a school coming up. We've got someone with a foot on the foot brake, so I'm going to give him extra room in case someone gets out of the car or he doesn't look round, or she. And again, looking at the following traffic, nice distance. Okay, car to the near side, making eye contact, scanning the crossing, looks quite clear. And just a quick mirror check what's going on behind as I'm entering this area, which is, again, just by looking at it we can see it's highly likely something could happen, such as a car door opening or someone moving out from a side road, which I'm already thinking about, and I'm keeping an eye on the following traffic so that I can give them a maximum response time by putting my brake lights on earlier. Okay, so checking the mirror, scanning the crossing. I'm going to turn left here, so checking my mirrors and signalling. Got a shop there, I'm expecting someone's going to be just out of my view here, about to step into the road, so I'm going to go jogging pace or fast walking pace to be able to deal with that. And I'm going to pull in safely here, giving the following traffic a signal. Okay, I'm going to stop the car, handbrake, park, turn the engine off. Hope this helps.